Okay, so we have a quorum. It is 7:02, so we will proceed. This is the November meeting of the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group. I'm Jeff Stevens. I'm chair of the planning group. We will proceed with our agenda. First thing on the agenda is non-agenda public comment. Is there any non-agenda public comment tonight? That's comment for things that are not on the agenda but relevant to the mission of the planning group.
Yes, Jeff, I have an item.
Go ahead.
All right, as you know, the city is doing a complete communities plan. Their plan is to come and take all of the money in all of the northern community areas, all the park money, and take it and revitalize it down throughout San Diego. So we stand on losing all of the money for Wagenheim, all of the money for Sauk, all of the money for our phase 2 over here at the rec center, by the city taking that money and using it throughout San Diego. I am very concerned, and I think we need to find out if the FBA funds are concretely guaranteed to be in Mira Mesa, and if the city can whittle it way in there and take that money, then we need to get us an attorney.
Thank you, Joe. I have the same concern. The Complete Communities Plan replaces all the developer fees that are currently paid in individual communities and puts it into all into one citywide pot from which the city will decide what projects to fund. So there is a real risk to us there, particularly for future projects. Any other non-agenda public comment? We'll go on to modifications of the agenda. I have one. The Sequence Drive project said they're not ready yet, so they've postponed until later. Are there any other modifications to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll proceed. I sent the minutes around earlier. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, minutes are approved as written. Report of the chair, I've got a few things. The Completely Communities program did go to the city council last week, and the housing component was approved, but the park master plan was deferred on a 4-to-5 vote. So they did express some of the same issues that that Joe raised, as well as a few others, with what's in that plan, which is still very immature in my opinion. So at least for the time being, that has been postponed, but it will be back next year. So we'll need to keep a close eye on what's in it and see if we can take care of the problems that are in it. Another issue with that is that the park master plan completely eliminates population-based park requirements, replacing it with this sort of abstract point system that is a lot fuzzier. And so that will likely lead to a reduction in park acreage in the future. But at least we have a little time on that one. As most of you know, we had a few more people are here. There was a survey that went out to the community for the community plan update. The results of that have been tabulated, and we just had a presentation on that for the last hour. And we missed that. We will anyone with background noise, please mute yourself.
Oh yeah. Guys, go ahead and sign this, just because I know we'll have to put a tip in there.
I can't really
Remember,
Yeah.
I can mute everyone, but
Becky, can you mute yourself, please?
okay, I've muted everyone, but if you need to say something, you're free to unmute yourself anytime you want. That just keeps people who don't realize they are broadcasting from doing it. Three Roots project was approved by City Council, and they're here for an update tonight. I'm looking forward to that. The El Camino Memorial Park CUP amendment is also here tonight. Oh, and I just got word from Louis Polera that the long-awaited paving of Gold Coast and Parkdale is on the City Council agenda for funding tomorrow. So I sent the information out to all planning group members, and it would be good if a few people could call in to support that. Mail, we got the development plans and first assessments letter for El Camino community CUP. I sent that link out to members. There's a Nora for the Mankind CUP. We already reviewed that one. Another one for the citywide crack seal program that goes around to seal cracks in streets all over the city. There are a whole bunch of locations in it, including several in Mira Mesa. 9 of them are on Camino Ruiz. So, okay, so that's my report for tonight. We'll go on to old business. Alex Frost, what do you want to tell us about the community plan update meeting? Alex?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jeff. My name is Alex Frost, Senior Planner with the Planning Department. We presented the results from the Plan Mira Mesa online community engagement tool today. The presentation will be available tomorrow on our website, and the recording probably later in the week if you wanted to see what the results were. Based on that, we will be developing different land use alternatives and scenarios for Mira Mesa, hopefully to present the first draft in January next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. All right, Three Roots update. Who's doing this? Allegra, are you doing it?
It's going to be a combination of myself and Ryan, but I think Ryan's going to kick it off. Ryan, have you joined?
Yes, I am here. I had some IT difficulties. How's everyone doing? Thank you very much. I'm Ryan Green with the Three Roots team on the Lennar side. Hey, we just wanted to quickly reach out to you guys and let you know that, as you know, we received unanimous approval from the Planning Commission and City Council. Really, there was no way we couldn't have done this without the guidance, the input, and the support of the community and the planning group. We didn't want you guys to think that it didn't go unnoticed or it was unappreciated. This was a very rare thing to have a community of this scale, this size, and this kind of opportunity go unanimous at the City Council. I think everyone understands how difficult it is these days. I also wanted to go ahead and say that the Three Roots team which is a California West Communities, Lennar Homes and Shea Homes, are really looking forward to bringing this community, this wonderful community, to life. Allegra is going to give you some highlights on it in a minute. And then lastly, and I cannot stress this enough, there are 3 individuals in your community, on your planning group, that I'm sure they don't want the accolades, but I can tell you, without their relentless pursuit of the best for their community, and ensuring the vision that was sent 1986, many years ago, this wouldn't have been possible. So Jeff Stevens, Ted Brangle, Bruce Brown, thank you very much. I hope, I guess the best thing I can say is the community is much better off with your leadership. So
Well, thank you.
that's the short of it, and I'll leave it to Allegra now. Thank you.
Great. And Jeff, do you mind if I share my screen as well? Because to just kind of segue into what this team really wanted to emphasize the legacy that Jeff, Ted, and Bruce really spearheaded throughout this process.
Go ahead, you should be able to, I think.
Perfect. So we came up with something. It says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Well, let's see. It says one participant can share at a time. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it's a matter of, I think you're okay now.
I think I get it. Okay, great. I'm going to open up. So for most of you who have been part of our process and interactive process, you did know that at the top of Parkdale Avenue, there is a small overlook park that will connect to the trail system throughout 3 routes. And we decided as a group, and we wanted to present this idea to the community today, was to come up with a monument in honor of these 3 lovely gentlemen who really helped shepherd this project through the community, made everybody feel heard in terms of the local constituents and also us as the development team. And that's something that shouldn't go unnoticed. And just when the project approvals are done, we move on past that. So as a tribute to that, in our Overlook Park, which is at the terminus of Parkdale Avenue, we wanted to share with you, I'm gonna close this so you guys don't see us. We have a little area where there's benches and seating and a trailhead. And on one of these modified gabion walls that I'll show you in a moment, we've come up with a signage package that really honors this team. So this is called a gabion wall, and what that does is it's a remnant of the quarry that is actually put in a stainless steel kind of cage, and on top of that is this Core 10 steel plaque. It's 18 feet long, and it says, "Dedicated to Jeff Stevens, Ted Bringle, and Bruce Brown for their decades of service to enhance Mira Mesa for the future generations to enjoy." So this is part of our neighborhood development permit signage package that's going through, and we just wanted to share that with you today. This is kind of the scale of it. And that will be kind of where the interface between the existing neighborhood and the new neighborhood really happen. And we really see that as a metaphor of how these 3 individuals made this project come to life. So we just want to thank you for that. And Arlene, were you going to also share something?
Yeah, hi everyone, my name's Arlene. As you know, I was leading the charge with a lot of our community outreach for 3 routes. So just want to echo what Ryan and Allegra said. Just thank you all, community at large, as well as this planning group, for all of your feedback and ideas over the last few years. We do plan on coming back to give you all updates on project milestones. You can still reach Allegra or myself via our 3 routes email addresses. But we do have a new website for the community. So I'm going to put all of those links in the chat feature. And then as we have milestones coming up, I'll be able to pop into these meetings and share our progress as we go. But thank you again. And that's all I have. Ryan, any last words? And then we'll get out of your hair.
No, I think that, I'm sorry, my thing's shaking here. We're always available. We're going to be in the community for a long time, and we just wanted to make sure that you knew that we hadn't just run away on you. So that was about it.
What's your schedule?
Jeff, our schedule, we plan on starting the development operation at the very, very first of the year, preferably January 1st if we can get lucky enough. Going through the permit process, obviously COVID has slowed a lot of things down for everyone, including the cities and the agencies. So our expectation is to be able to start development by January for grading, and then hopefully we'll be able to start our models in our first set of models in April.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
I had one request to comment from Becky Rapp. Becky, are you there somewhere? If you're saying anything, you're muted.
Oh, yes.
I graduated in 90, and you were what year?
Hi, Becky.
Okay.
Wouldn't have overlapped in seminary or, pretty big difference. Yeah. And I didn't even know. And you're the oldest, so and I'm
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Great. Thank you. Good evening, Mira Mesa Planning Group. My name is Becky Rapp. I'm a mother and community member. Tonight, I'd like to bring to your attention that crime rates are on the rise in and around marijuana outlets. Neighborhoods are suffering. Marijuana in our city has become more prevalent and accessible for young people who are experiencing anxiety and disconnectedness.
So
For this
Becky,
reason,
I had thought this was a comment on this project, though. That's
oh
really,
no, this is a public comment.
a little late. If you'll hold that till later, we can put you on at the very end.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions for Three Roots? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mira Mesa.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. New business. As I mentioned earlier, the Sequence Drive postponed, so that brings us to El Camino Memorial Park CUP. Jennifer Shen. I think it doesn't look like you're muted, but I can't hear you. Mm-mm. Okay, got you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, having difficulties. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, little technical difficulties. So I will share my screen. Okay, so. Okay, so this is for an amendment to the existing CUP at El Memorial Park. This is just a glimpse of what the project, this is the property line through here. And what we are planning to do for the amendment to the CUP is to develop a bridge, crosses over an existing creek with about 650 feet of paved road, an extension into the area identified for development in the MHPA plan. We will also be doing grading and development of the cemetery burial areas in the former orchard site. All of this land was previous former orchard site. There is also a land swap of potential development area within the proposed preserved, and I'll be going over all of those items in a minute. So as you can see, I know one of the issues that Jeff had brought up that may be questionable is the extension of the Carroll Canyon Road. There is a easement that is dedicated at this location for the expansion.
So Jennifer, we saw your presentation for a moment. Now we just see your desktop. I think you need to bring.
Oh no, sorry about that. Do you see this now?
Yeah, now it's
Is that better?
There we go.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So this is going to be a little odd because I have dual screens and it's sharing on one and the camera's on the other. So I do apologize for that. Okay, so this is the project site that we will be doing. It's approximately 5.7 acres of development. This is a more zoomed in image of the development area. So this is the existing road, and we'll be doing an expansion of the road with a bridge that crosses over the existing creek that I mentioned. 650 linear feet with a roundabout at the edge. This is the property line with the existing commercial developments to the north. And this green area represents the current multi-habitat planning area. As you can see, there's a small area of development that crosses into the multi-habitat planning area. So what we are proposing to do is to do a swap. Basically what we'll be taking out is, let's see, it's about 0.82 acres that we'll be adding to the multi-habitat planning area, and we'll be subtracting about 0.70 acres. So they'll actually be gaining roughly 0.12 acres into the multi-habitat planning area. So as you can see, this green line delineates the multi-habitat planning area. This white speckled area is the area that we subtracted, and this teal color is the area that will be added. In terms of grading, we will be exporting about 305 cubic yards of dirt to an area legal disposal site. This is a close-up of the grading plan that shows a 6-to-1 slope to a 7-to-1. So it's going to be varying on the part where we'll be developing in the cemetery burial grounds. And we'll have a 2-to-1 slope to the west. This is the bridge, and there's going to be retaining walls on both sides so that the existing creek bed will not be disturbed and it would be protected in place. Okay. This is a close-up of the anchor wall system that we'll be utilizing. There is a 50-foot span between the bridge, the clearance basically to allow wildlife. It's more of a wildlife corridor. So there'll be a 50-foot span for the wildlife to traverse through. And at the bridge, there'll be a 60-foot span. This is a section of the retaining wall. And the retaining wall varies. At the maximum height will be about 26 feet. This is an example of the bridge, the vehicular bridge that will be placed. We had prepared recycled water plans that have been approved by the city and the county for this area. As you can see, we'll be placing turf over the burial grounds, and there will be various types of trees placed throughout the garden. There will be holly oak and Chinese elms that will be placed. And that is it. It's a very simple project. What we're doing is just amending the CUP to include the additional areas to be able to develop for the cemetery burial grounds. We're over 1,800 feet from the development on the adjacent side, which is the Fenton Technology Business Park. And we're about 1,600 feet away from the western property line.
Can you show where Carroll Canyon Road will come through the property?
Sure. So this is the area that has been dedicated to the public. It's right through here.
Okay.
And there was a mention in, I think when you and I spoke, you had mentioned stating whether or not the city had mentioned any requirements to us regarding this extension. There was a plan check comment from the transportation department that basically stated that there is a plan for Carroll Canyon Road to be expanded, and they are also asking for additional area to be dedicated for this road. But that was the extent of their comments.
Okay, are they asking for that to be dedicated as part of this change?
They had mentioned that they wanted a 102-foot irrevocable offer of dedication, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. We already have a 102-foot irrevocable offer of dedication provided for the extension of the road, but they are mentioning that that they will be requiring additional area. That is on that's plan check 10 and 11 on the LER transportation development plan check. I believe you had received a copy of the entire set.
I did, yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's on number 10 and 11 on the transportation plan check comments.
All right. Are there other questions for Jennifer?
Hi, Jeff. This is Ralph. I just had one question. Given that it floods a lot when it rains, how is this project going to impact the flooding at Carroll Canyon Road there? Is it going to lessen the flooding because you've got some sequestration of the water, or is it going to adversely impact it?
So it would not adversely impact it because it's basically going to be turf. So there's going to be a lot of permeable land. There is also water quality BMPs that have been implemented to account for any excess water or any excess drainage that would be incurred during this project. So there will not be any additional overflow or drainage onto the adjacent properties.
Other questions? All right, so this is basically just an expansion of the area you're using for the cemetery, is that right?
It's an amendment to the CUP. So currently the CUP only covers a portion of this land. So what we wanted to do was to amend the CUP to include this portion of development. This is all within the cemetery property, but the existing CUP does not include this. So it's the amendment to the CUP to include this development area, as well as the swapping of the multi-habitat planning area.
Okay. So would anyone like to make a motion on this one? If people think they need more time, we can ask them to come back later. They've just had their first plan check.
Jeff, I'll move that we accept the amendment.
I'll second that, Jeff.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the amendment. I might just suggest we add to the amendment that, or to the motion, that the city should work out any differences they have on Carroll Canyon Road as part of this project.
I accept that.
Okay, so the motion then is to approve this project and recommend that the city work out any issues it has with the with Carroll Canyon Road during their approval of this project. Any other comments? All right, then I will ask Mary to call the roll. Mary, are you there?
Yep, I was just trying to figure out how to unmute myself. Okay, so let's see. Tom Durr, you're my first on the list. Approved. And then Craig Jackson.
Approved.
Ralph Carolyn.
Yes.
John Labaugh.
Yes.
Joe Fritchell.
Yes.
Bari.
Yes.
Jeff Stevens.
Yes.
Bruce Brown.
Yes.
Craig Radke.
Yes.
Julia Schreiber.
Yes.
Harkishan.
Yes.
And me, yes. Marvin Miles.
Yes.
Justin Mandelbaum.
Yes.
And Lilith Nover.
Yes.
Did I miss anybody? Okay. 1, 2,
All right.
15 approved.
Thank you, Mary.
Uh-huh.
Well, you have, so Jennifer, so you have your approval. We will ask that you and the city work out any issues with Carroll Canyon Road. There was a problem there with, I know that the cemetery had given a dedicated right of way, but then it turned out to be not exactly the right of way that they needed. So with the final route of the road. So we just want to get that, any issues with that out of the way. And this is a good time to do that.
Okay, we will work with that with the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can unshare your screen now.
Okay.
All right, very good. Moving along to elected officials reports. So I didn't actually see any elected officials here. Are there any let's see, is Luis here?
Jeff.
Yeah, Luis, go ahead.
Hey, so I wanted to follow up on the email I sent over earlier today. No, we've been waiting a long time, but tomorrow's actions at our city council meeting, there's an item 331, lease revenue bonds and the commercial paper allocation. So commercial paper includes the long-awaited funding for Gold Coast and Parkdale. So the meeting begins at 10 a.m. and we're asking if planning group members would be able to call into the meeting when that item is heard and then provide the feedback in support of that item to get approved. And that would actually be the allocation for that funding. So I know we've been waiting for a long time. It's been on the docket, so it's just a matter of getting that item heard. So the meeting starts at 10. I don't have an exact time when it's going to be because obviously it's a pretty busy agenda at council tomorrow. But as soon as we get that approval, then they'll actually have that funding allocation set in place to do both of our streets finally.
Thanks, Luis. So it is nice that with doing this remotely, we don't have to sit down in council chambers for hours and hours waiting, but can you do any better than 10 a.m. on when that might come up? Where is it? How far down in the agenda is it?
On the agenda, it said around 11, but it's subject to change. It depends on how much public comment there is. So it could fluctuate. I would just recommend if you're like at work, just be following it on TV, on city TV or on your computer. And then when that item is heard, that's when you present your comments in support of the item. So there's a lot of things in commercial paper allowance in our district that need that funding, but Gold Coast and Parkdale is the biggest chunk of change on there on that allocation.
All right. Any other questions for Luis? Pam?
Do you have an item number for those of us who might have to use a web form to express our opinion because our work doesn't allow us to break off to call in?
Yeah, let me see if I can forward you over the city clerk link. Pam, I can email it to you after this meeting.
That sounds good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Luis?
Jeff?
Yeah, John?
Yeah, Jeff, I have a question. Luis, I sent you an email about Weston Hill, the northern part. It was just repaved about 2 months ago, and now they're digging it up.
Yeah, I heard about that from Barry as well. Waiting to find out from city staff about that. Hopefully I'll have a better answer. I know that people are a little frustrated about that street right now.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking for more money to repave additional streets, I'd hate to see that happen again. I mean,
that makes two of us.
Quite a bit of, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of holes, repatching, everything else all up and down the northern part of Weston Hill now. It's been.
I'll follow up to find out what's going on. I know that they've had that for a little bit now. I'll check in for you guys.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Luis? Thank you, Luis.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your patience.
Any other elected officials, representatives here tonight? How about Kristen from MCS Miramar? She said she was going to come. Well, shame on her. All right.
Here. Kristen's here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Yeah, sorry, I just called in. For some reason, I have a hard time with Zoom meetings at home, and I'm not able to do any of this stuff at work on our government computers. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I did want to come and say hi to all of you. I also wanted to let you all know that we finally released the ACUS document. It is up on our webpage. I believe I sent you the link to that, Jeff. But anyway, you can also just Google MCS Miramar 2020 ACUS and it'll show up. The bottom line is that there are no changes in any of the acts and potential zones. There is some slight shifting of the noise contour that you'll see if you pull it up. But you know, really the bottom line is that the changes are very minor, and we're not looking for the Airport Land Use Commission or the city to update the Airport Land Use Compatibility Plan. So the state law requires that the LUCP is consistent with the ACUS, and we feel that it is still consistent with it, and it doesn't need to be updated. So anyways, that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions for me.
That's good. That simplifies things for the community plan update. If the if the contours are staying the same, since that affects where we can where we can develop, where we can't. Okay, any other questions for Kristen? All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight.
All right, thank you.
Gone to announcements. Are there any announcements? Then we'll go on to reports, CPC. Oh, did I miss something?
Yeah.
All right.
Jeff, Becky Rapp was going to make a comment. I think that she was
It was like part of like carnival or circus.
started at the wrong time.
Yeah, okay, you can do that here.
Inside of, trapped inside of a
Becky Rapp, go ahead.
cage of water. Oh.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry about the miscommunication earlier, but I appreciate you hearing my comment. Good evening. My name is Becky Rapp, and I'm a mother and community member. Tonight, I'd like to bring to your attention that crime rates are on the rise in and around marijuana outlets. Neighborhoods are suffering. Marijuana in our city has become more prevalent and accessible for young people who are experiencing anxiety and disconnectedness. For this reason, it's crucial that planning group members help educate community members to ensure the safety of our neighborhoods. I'd like to share with you 2 recent incidences that help illustrate the fact that marijuana dispensaries are not without crime. This past week, a 21-year-old man was shot in City Heights and has passed away when involved in a marijuana transaction. The suspect of the shooting was involved in a standoff and eventually ran into a nearby home. Another incident last week in Ramona involved a 46-year-old man shot in his home located next to a legal marijuana dispensary. I strongly recommend, especially during times of isolation and heightened anxieties, you help educate those community members within your planning group area. Please help keep our neighborhoods safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Becky.
My link, so she may be trying to sign in and it'll look like me again.
Danielle Austin, you're here, aren't you? I think I let you in. Are you here, Danielle?
She emailed me, she was having trouble signing in. So she asked if I could help her get in.
Okay, I did admit her at one point. Oh, she's there.
Yes.
Hey, Danielle, can you unmute yourself?
Can try, yes.
All right. Just wanted to make sure you're here. Pam dropped me a note that you were trying to get in and were unable to do it.
Yeah, I don't know why my email dumps my business and stuff. It doesn't give me very many days to hold on to things.
I see. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We'll go on to a CPC report. We had a meeting October 27th. There was discussion primarily on the Complete Communities program. As you've already heard, there's a lot of concern about that. We were also surprised that this came up so quickly in City Council. The City Council meeting to approve this was on November 9th, and we hadn't heard about this before. At that meeting is the first time I had heard that. So we think Mayor Falconer wanted to get this through while he was still in office, and so he may have rushed this a bit, which is why they had this special meeting specifically to approve that. As I mentioned, they did approve the housing part, but they postponed the park plan until later, when we'll have a new mayor and a new city council to educate on the issue. All right, Pam, CAC.
Oh, yes. Let's see. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I can't see my own square. All I can see is you. I must be on speaker view. Okay. We're having a meeting of the Los Penasquitos Canyon Preserve Citizens Advisory Committee this Thursday, our first Zoom meeting. So we will be talking about the Parks Master Plan as it applies to open space and multiple habitat areas. Some of that came up in the City Council meeting as comments by various people then. And I forget what else is on the agenda. Getting reacquainted, since it's going to be our first Zoom meeting. Very excited, and I can report on it next month.
Thank you, Pam. All right. that is actually the end of the agenda. Is there any other business tonight? All right. Hearing none.
It's, I have one question. You know, this overlook with you three, I mean, these older security people that are sitting there on those benches is, we missed Joe Fritchell. He could probably sit there and sit on that bench, and they did overlook also. So I think he missed another old senior person in the community. So.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really good.
but I would want a statue.
Well, some people have said you don't move very much, so that could probably be the same thing. So I'm concerned we have got 2 Navy guys and 2 Air Force guys if we put Fritchell in there. So we still got a 2/3 vote there. So if it's all Navy, so just a thought.
All right. Any other business? All right. Thank you all for coming. We will see. We won't meet in December. We will meet in January, as usual, on the Thursday after the third Monday, since the third Monday is a holiday. So we'll see you back here in January. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Have a happy holidays and happy Thanksgiving.